Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 24th through the 28th. I will go over price targets, have a gap recap from the week of June 17th through the 21st, and I will also update the chart. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is DoorDash. We ended the week at $113.88, up 3.33%. This is where we are at resistance. And the next level above that at 3 standard deviations takes us to 115.05, a potential take profit area as well. Above that, 116.22. To the south side, VWAP is in the blue line at 112.05. The middle of the trend takes us back down to roughly 111.56, 109.25, 108.04, and 106.90. Looking left for the gap recap, there is a gap to the upside that will take us to roughly 127.01, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone, just something to be aware of. I will extend this into this upcoming week. Don't know where and when it's going to hit, but right now on the 5-minute, we are going down. The next one is Nike. I'm going to clip through these pretty quickly because I have a lot of tickers to get through. Many tickers to get through, I should say. The next one is Nike. 97.18 is where we ended, up 1.68%. To the north side takes us to roughly 97.35. 97.68 and 97.67. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend, 96.75, negative 2 standard deviations, 96.13, 95.82, and 95.50. So the gap that I am tracking will take us to roughly $100.78 up here. We are going upward on the 5-minute time frame, so that's nice to see finally. But we do have gaps to keep in mind. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, but this one takes us down to 91.64. Next up is Intel. We ended the week at 31.09, basically at the middle of the trend and at VWAP. To the north side, resistance, potential take profit area, 31.46, 31.63, 31.81. To the south side, 30.77, 30.60, 30.42. This gap closed out, touched right here, so this is no longer in play. We went up to 30.64, fell back down to, if we're up here, down to support, and then we ran up here for a clear sell signal at resistance. I will delete that number, and this number no longer in play. And this is a gap that I am tracking to the upside. If we continue to go up, this could touch maybe at the end of the week. And that will take us to 34.95 roughly. Next one is TSLY. To the north side at resistance takes us to 1564, 1571, 1577. To the south side, 1552, 1539, 1533, 1526. For your gap recaps, this gap is still in play, taking us to 1592. Again, I have no idea when it's going to touch or where. I'll just extend it out. And then this gap takes us to the south side, closing out at roughly 1483. And then we have some other gaps to deal with, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone. And this one closed out, so that looks good. We were at 1508 previously, and then we ended at 1559 at the end of the 21st. Tesla up next. First for your price targets. Still going down on the 5-minute time frame. So 2 standard deviations, roughly 183.34, 184.59, 185.94. Again, all I'm doing is tracking from here Monday to Friday, and we are in a downward channel still. Back at the baseline and support, 180.75, 178.17, 176.84, and 175.56. For your gaps, this one closed out already at 186. This one is still in play, but we are moving farther away from it. That would take us to 189.93, but again, going down. And as far as the gaps to the south side, this one takes us to 159.76. And we're not in that channel, not in the zone, not even close, but just something to be aware of. Not for next week though, I don't think. And your clear sell signal up here, your clear buy signal down here. Other gaps to the upside whenever we reverse. That could be a little while. CVS. We ended the week at 61.37 to the north side. We were already attempted to run, but obviously you can't just stay up there without consolidating. 61.53, 61.75, 61.97. Support takes us to 61.10, 60.65, 60.42, and there's no way we're going to get here at 60.21 on Monday, but you never know. We could wick down that way and get bought right back up. Now, for your gap recap, look at this big one that I'm tracking. This will carry over into the following week. Check out my public service announcement here as well. And I don't see a gap to the downside. Nope, not tracking any. And if I am, it'll just be encompassed by the standard deviations. So we started the week at 60.22, we're at 61.37. The next one is SLB. Option R to reset that for me. For your targets, resistance, 46.26, 46.89, 47.22, and no way we'll get here on Monday, 47.54. To the south side, we're basically at -2 standard deviations. -3 is 45.27 and -4 is 44.94. As far as your gaps, this one, I extended it out from the previous week, not knowing when it's going to touch, and it did right here on Monday. So this touched at 43.81. We fell back down and then ran back up to resistance and sold off. Classic, expected. And there is a gap here to the upside that will take us to 50.93, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone, just something to be aware of. And we started the week at 43, ended the week at 45.66. And what is that on a return? Let's just say there. Well, let's say you got out up here, that's 6%, but if we ended here, that takes us to 6.12%. And still in an upward channel, going farther away from this baby gap. Let me extend it into the following week. Boeing. 176.56 is where we ended to the north side. Again, the blue is VWAP. 178.54, 180.14, 181.75. Excuse me. To the south side. Back at support and the baseline, 175.30, 172.02, 170.38, and 168.71. As far as the gaps are concerned, did we touch here? It looks like we touched at the wick, and I just include, no, it didn't. Almost. So that will extend into the following week. And then after that, this one, but we're not there, not close. All day long between -2 and 2 is, I like to keep it conservative. Note the bounce here at support. And anything to the south side I'm tracking right now? Nope. Not within this zone anyway. Command Z. I accidentally move some things around with my sticky fingers. HYG. So we ended the week at 77.39, 77.53, 77.61, 77.69 to the south side. Back at the base, 77.37, 77.20, 77.12, 77.03. As far as the gaps go, let's look at, so this one, here I'll make this just a little bit bigger. So from the previous week, 2 weeks ago, extend that out. And remember, when I chart, I just move this. I have no idea where it's going to touch. And we touched right here, so that is done. 77.32, we hit resistance, fell back down, grinded sideways, went back up again, touching VWAP there. Delete. So that's done. Then we have this gap to the south side. I'm going to give it as a touch right there. Sometimes you make it, if you extend that and make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. All right, so we gapped up, anticipated it to fill down, and it did, and this turns into support, and we ran off of that. So that's no longer a threat to our account to the south side. So this one is still in play. I will extend that into the next week, but we are moving farther away from it, going an upward channel on the 5, and then this is something to look forward to at 77.75. We've already tickled the beginning of it, but couldn't quite continue the momentum. And I think that's, oh, what is this? This one, let me clean this up, touched right here 2 weeks ago, June 12th. And we gapped up, touched to the south side right here at 77.07 basically, and then fell back down. That's resistance. We shot up a little bit, fell back down. All right, I think for now that is it. SOFI. Option R, reset. Note the downward channel. We started off at 646 for the week, ended at 632. But here's a trade for you from here to here, clear sell signal. If we bounce up here, sell signal again. 642, 649, 655, 629, 616, 609, 603. Okay, and what else? So looking left, the gap that I'm tracking is all the way up here, not in the channel, not in the zone, just something to be aware of, and nothing to the south side. Well, within this time frame. I'm just keeping it within the 5 minutes. I don't want to extend it out more. Again, if we touch these points, these gaps, if there are any to the left, we'll close out. I just like to look forward to the gaps to the north side. All right, Pfizer. Finally in an upward channel here, 27.74. Resistance is 27.91. 28.23. 28.40. 28.57. To the south side, 27.58. 27.42. 27.26. As far as the gaps go, this is a gap I'm still looking forward to the upside. And this gap, we are moving farther away from that, and that takes us to roughly 25.67-ish, or 50, what do I have? Yeah, 67-ish. But not in the channel, not in the zone. So we've got other gaps here too, but I'm not going to talk about that, one gap at a time, 1 week at a time, but just something to look forward to long term. Next one is RIVN, option R. So we started the week at 10.88, closed down at 10.32. For your targets, resistance, 10.58. Don't anticipate it to touch 10.76 or 10.93, and if it does, we are at resistance and that will sell off. 10.24, 9.88, 9.72, 9.54. And I don't have to tell you this is all my opinion. I don't want to say that over and over again. This is everything that I do on here is my opinion. So it works for me. That's why they say trade your own book, do what is comfortable for you, but this is how I do it. It's very easy. Anybody could learn this style of trading. 10.24, 9.89, if I didn't do this already, 9.71, and no way we're gonna get to here, 9.54 in 1 day. All right, that gap takes us to 11.01, but we're moving farther away from it in a downward channel. And I'm not tracking anything right now to the south side. But in the bigger picture, there might be something. I'm not going to flip it over again. And then they have, RIVN has many other gaps to the upside. NEO. We started the week at 4.33, ran up all the way to 4.48, and then flushed down to 4.30. $4.37, $4.42, $4.46, $4.28, $4.19, roughly $4.14-ish, and $4.09. Looking left, again, the sell-off at resistance at 2, and then this gap is still in play. So we could definitely touch and, excuse me, be there by the midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, if we continue to go down, which we are in a downward channel. And this gap closed for a bounce up, right? I think it's right there, right? $4.40, ran up, fell back down because that's resistance. So the gap that I'm tracking takes us to 528, still in play, but moving farther away from it. Next one is TLRY. This one's tanking. Pot stocks, they're some of the individual tickers are correcting. MOS is going up a little bit, but my goodness, it's stuck in the $7 range. Anyway, I digress. To the north side, resistance 167, 169, 170, 171, 165, 164. Looking left, sell off at resistance here, buying at support down here. As far as the gaps go, where are the, oh, this one takes us to 212. Not in the zone, not even close. Oh, that's it. Yay, I'm done. All right, that is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 24th through the 28th. Have a great trading week.